This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Better. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Wednesday? Happy hump day to you and yours. Hope you're doing well, getting the back half of your week going. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, just off McFarland Boulevard right here in Tuscaloosa. Well, really, Northport. You can follow us or find us just past the Tiger Rock on the left. Call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We appreciate Derek and his crew letting us hang out in their basement each and every day. Doing the show on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page, on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither6, and obviously on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can get the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. So, decided to get a Wednesday rolling with my man Mason Woods. You follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine, covering all things recruiting for the Walsh Writing Network, Alabama Crimson Tide on SI, Miami, not anymore, Missouri on SI, Missouri Tigers on SI, Vanderbilt, and Boston College. So if you got any interest in those other schools as well, Mason Woods can let you know who the youngsters are that's coming to their schools very soon. Going to have a fun show today. Hopefully a fun show today. A little bit of a random show today, as they usually are in the summer. We are going to talk about the ESPN Football Power Index that was put out last night. We're going to talk about really, maybe I'm a little shifting on my 5'11 model. AQ, what's the right thing for college football going forward? I had a comment late last night that made me think, oh, maybe that is going to be a problem. So we'll talk about that. We also had some news late last night, Alabama baseball news. Congratulations, Rob Vaughn. You get a contract extension. And I don't think, the exact terms are not listed in this, yes. Some of the terms are listed in Will Miller's article, and we'll talk about Rob Vaughn's extension. You can read about Will Miller. He wrote it late last night for Bama Central right there for us. Rob Vaughn getting another couple years added to his contract after really the best Alabama baseball season since 2002. So we can talk about the disappointing weekend, and you're right. But on the whole, take a step back, it was the best Alabama baseball weekend, or baseball regular season since 2002. So we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about Greg Verne, where he was last night to celebrate that. Mason, I was on with 105.5 at WNSP in Mobile yesterday, and they threw end of the year awards at me, and I was really whoa, caught off guard. A little bit, but I tried to play their game a little bit. So we will revisit some of their most successful, most likely to succeed Alabama athlete. They asked me who the class clown Alabama athlete was. They asked me MVP of each team, that sort of thing. They asked me who the cutest couple on campus was, and I was like, couldn't
tell you one.
That's one area. Will Miller, Alabama baseball, yes. I mean, covering that lane to a T. But Will Miller also knows the days of our lives with the Alabama athletes. He is very up on that. So, I was like, oh, I don't know who's dating who. No idea. So we'll talk about end of season awards, and we will finish with South Carolina, the Gamecocks. So that's going to... Yeah, I wish I should have had that sounder, but we get flagged for copyright for playing it. Quick. That sandstorm just drives me crazy. I love it. Drives me crazy, though. With that laid out, how we feeling? Good morning.
Oh, I'm doing good this morning. I'm feeling good. Busy, not exactly as busy as I thought I would maybe be this week on the recruiting trail after the, very busy recruiting weekend for Alabama, welcoming as many players as they did. I mean, all the schools we cover welcomed, I think, at least 10 or so players. So not really anything on the commitment front, but I think that's just kind of the nature of summer. I imagine as we get deeper and into the year, obviously some kids will be making their decisions as the month goes on. Some kids are scheduled for July and so forth. And then, they have to keep in mind they still all have an entire year left of high school before this decision actually is made. So we got a ways to go, I think, until a lot of these guys are really going to be deciding. But good things looking up. Things looking up for Alabama.
Billy 5-star committing soon, but ain't gonna be no Justice Fitzpatrick coming to Tuscaloosa.
No. Which Alabama was not really even in the mix for him. I don't believe. I don't think they were really even pushing to get him in at all. Hardly. I think there was some communication there, obviously, early on in his recruitment. But I think Alabama, as it stands right now, has, I think, two of the best corners in the class, or one of the best. I'm blanking on his name now. Jordan Edmonds. I think he's like the number 2 or 3 corner in next year's class. They landed him, so I think they're pretty okay with what they have right now.
This coaching staff has seemed to be pretty good at finding some corners so far.
Yeah,
I know Xavier Brown is really Nick Saban's gift to Kalen DeBoer, but they went out and found Dijon Lee pretty quickly, so and secured him. I think that you saw that yesterday, and immediately I get he's not going to Alabama, and I said, okay, folks, to some of my friends, let's remember. Let's remember that everybody that coached his brother is over in Athens right now. It makes perfect sense to me.
You've already got like 2 top 10 corners in the class committed between Zion Gibson and Jordan Edmonds. Zion Gibson was the one I was blanking on the name there. I think this was a thing where Alabama got out of the race a while ago. Haven't really been in the race for a while. And, like you said, most of the coaches who recruited his brother are at Georgia now.
I think Justice was on the Nick Saban radar, but as soon as he went to the lake, Justice said, I'm going to go find Kirby Smart, who helped my brother make millions of dollars.
Can't blame him.
Great. Good for you. Hope you do well. And that goes back to my friend the other day I think Georgia's falling behind in recruiting. No, you're not. Just give it a second. No, these SEC schools are not falling behind. It's not a matter of who. It's a matter of when. And it's a matter of getting the combination.
I would not be shocked if over the next however many years, we just start to see kids committing later and later and later, just because of the nature of recruiting now, with all of the, various numbers being thrown around to these kids from whatever school they're talking to. Like, it would not shock me one bit to see this just become a pretty normal trend where everybody's sitting here the summer before the class's senior year, and it's like, we only have 2 or 3 recruits. What's happening? And, I think it might just be par for the course now.
Unless you can give me $20,000 a month, then I'll commit as a sophomore.
Yeah,
I will commit the first day of my sophomore year.
Sure,
and we'll be committed all the way up until school XYZ comes over the top of you.
Exactly. It's okay. We'll ask for the money back, and then we'll be good.
No, you're not getting
it all back.
You're not getting it back. We're putting it in crypto. We're putting it offshore.
Oh, this everything has just evolved so much.
Speaking of money, you saw your boy. You saw you saw Booby Feaster's father yesterday,
yes,
getting fired up. Let's see. You got Booby Feaster. Well, he was at Georgia, right? This past weekend.
He was at Alabama. So Darian Morgan was at Georgia.
Man, I did that yesterday.
Swapping this weekend, basically. It might not be exactly like 1 for 1, but Booby Feaster will be going to Georgia. So Darian Morgan will be coming to Alabama.
I did that yesterday. So Booby Feaster's in Tuscaloosa this past weekend, and you got somebody commenting under one of these photos, the nice photos with Ryan Williams and everybody's yada, everybody looks cool. It's great photos. Great job, Alabama. Pictures. Really, really. Comment goes, I love the culture. The truth is he's actually going to where he can get the fattest check, and he doesn't give a rip about any particular university. Response number 2. You are an absolute lie. He's going to go where he loves it first, sir. Wrong damn recruit, sir. Don't think every recruit cookie cutter. The same guy responds, you really don't think it's all about the money? And then commenter number 2 reveals himself. He is my son, idiot. No, it's not. As user RevFlex357, Dr. L.A. Feaster Jr., comments and lets him know is not about the money with Booby Feaster.
I think he is he's one of the players, one of those types of players where you got a pretty good chance of getting to the NFL. So let's look at that avenue. Let's take that route before we, really consider the NIL things. Let's look at where you're going to develop, where you're going to have a best chance to get to the NFL, maybe as a first round selection one of these days. And then, NIL can be a secondary thing because that will be there. Don't get me wrong.
Of course. Okay, take that. That will be there. Let's pretend we're inside all those rooms or whatever. Like at Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, whoever, Booby Feasters up at Texas A&M. Now that's a little bit of an outlier. Most of these schools, the dollar amount that they're offering within 100K, within a half, like it's not gonna be that much different. It's, hey, you're getting offered X. I don't even want to throw out a number because that will seem speculative. Sure. But like you're getting offered X. I would imagine, and this may be a totally ignorant guess, but my guess is the schools that are operating on that level outside of maybe, Michigan, and we think you're Bryce Underwood and we think you're worth $12 million. Like those prospects are so few and far between that, our elite wide receiver prospects, we're offering X dollars. Oh, well, that school is offering X dollars, X.1. That school is offering a little under X, but everything is right around that X. I'm with Dr. Feaster. Obviously, he's gonna get NIL.
Yes,
but I just wonder if it's all kind of in the same ballpark. So then it becomes, well, do I like this coach? Well, do I like this offensive system? Well, will this coaching staff get me to the NFL? I think the money is kind of the same everywhere else.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, like I said,
it's a guess.
Yeah, like you said, kind of speculating a little bit. Like we don't know. I'm not plugged in. I'm not in those meeting rooms or whatever, but I would imagine that most of those schools, with the exception of a few, and we know who those few are operating kind of around the same level money-wise, and they're kind of pushing out the same sorts of deals to players. And I'm sure there's negotiation and things like that, and these numbers change a little bit here and there. But, I'm sure all these schools come to the table with, all right, between this and this is kind of what we're willing to pay for a receiver at this level.
Absolutely. So, getting excited about recruiting. Everett Osmer joins us on the Facebook page. My favorite podcast. You're my favorite listener, Everett. We appreciate your support always. And so you can join us on the Facebook machine as well. If you got a comment on Bowie Feaster or the recruiting, Justice Fitzpatrick, if you want to talk about that, you can find us right there. Obviously, the voicemail machine is open, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Dax left us a voicemail on Monday about defensive line, so we're getting on with that into the summer. All right, you want to move to really my meat and potatoes topic of the day. Did you see the ESPN Football Power Index?
I did not.
All right, so On 3 Sports tweeted it last night. No, yesterday at 8:45 a.m. So you might have to scroll way back if you're looking at On 3 Sports. But there's a big old graphic. If you didn't see it, here's your just quick rundown. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida, Southern California, SMU, Kansas State, Arkansas, Missouri, Arizona State, Nebraska. All right, so if you didn't keep up with me, that's 13 SEC schools.
Not bad.
Is it not bad? Now,
13 out of 16? It's pretty good.
If you're looking at the lens through the SEC, absolutely, it's good. But is it good for college football? And how will this ultimately play out for the SEC? Here's where I'm going here. All right, so you've got 13 of the top 13 of the top 25 teams are in the SEC. I don't have a whole lot of argument there. Now, Arkansas at 22, that's a huge, I don't know about that, buddy. In Tennessee at 10 with Joey Aguilar, I mean, I know some people are really big believers in Joey Aguilar, but I am not. You're going to have to show it to me, buddy.
Seems like maybe whoever made that list forgot that Nico left.
Auburn at 14. I mean, I see the Auburn's got the best wide receiver room in the whole country. Are the wide receivers good enough? Which, first off, that's asinine. But are the wide receivers good enough to make you the 14th best team in the country? Some of this is a little hooey to me, just in the rankings, and you're seeing a lot of people. Well, of course, the ESPN metric would have 13 of its schools because it's got the TV contracts propping up the SEC propaganda machine. no real argument there when I'm looking at Arkansas and I'm looking at Auburn and in this list. And sorry, Texas A&M at 8. I know that you had a good first year as well, but
Oklahoma at 16. What are we doing? I know there's a lot of people. This could be the most improved team in college football from year to year. You gonna have to show me, because that was a bad Oklahoma team last year. Well, they bad. I know they beat Alabama. That was not a great Bama team in that game. Texas, Georgia, Alabama 1, 2, and 3.
great.
Yes, but also ridiculous.
SEC banner
Preposterous.
going.
Like categorically just ridiculous. Ohio State is coming off of a national championship victory, and they are returning a lot of the key pieces from that team. I understand they have to replace their quarterback. But that was a quarterback that didn't do a ton last year.
I'm more interested in how they replace those 2 running backs.
Sure.
Because I think that was the real engine for their offense.
You're
good. Keep going. You're fine.
I can't. Some of these SEC teams up here, I'm not buying. I'm not buying Missouri at 23 and not buying Arkansas at 22.
Yeah, right.
I'm not buying Oklahoma 16, like I said, Auburn 14. Not really buying LSU at 12. I think you could throw LSU in that Arkansas, Missouri range down near the bottom there.
Yes, in that 20s range.
Yeah, this seems like a little bit of
propaganda,
just potentially.
We might have a contract with the SEC, and this. I hate preseason rankings. Now, this is not a preseason ranking, but I hate preseason rankings for this reason, because you haven't played a single game, and you're going to get Missouri playing some team early in the year, and it's going to be like Missouri, highly ranked Missouri, ready to go against whoever they're playing. I mean, they play Kansas State for the last couple of years. Let's see Missouri's schedule. Missouri, we'll find you out. Missouri football schedule. You're going to be playing. Oh, you're hosting Kansas in the border war. Isn't that the border war, or is that West Virginia? I think that's
West Virginia, isn't it?
So you're playing your old Big 12 school at Kansas, reviving it. I do believe that's an old rivalry game.
Kansas, Missouri.
Great name for that, guys. And they're going to be ranked 23, 24, 22. And if Kansas wins, Kansas gets themselves a ranked win. It's horrible. It's horrible. And you're never going to convince them to not rank teams until the week 4. Yeah. Like, hey, we've seen 3 weeks. Now here's a top 25. These 25 teams look real good. You'll never do it because of money and headlines. And because of my profession, we've got to be talking about preseason ranked number 8, preseason ranked number 12. So, okay, set the preseason ranking conversation aside, hating that. Let's take this at face value. Let's just say you got it right. You got it all right. What becomes of the SEC and these rankings when you're round robin? You're ending with one team at 10-1. You're ending with another team at 11-2. Okay, or excuse me, 11-1, 10-2. Excuse me. And they're going to the SEC championship game, and everybody knows they're in the college football playoff. But then you have, I don't know, pick 4. Pick 4 of these teams. I don't care who they are. Pick 4 of these teams: LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, and let me get one more, South Carolina. Right. Those 4 teams are all 9-3 because they dropped one to Texas. They dropped one to Alabama on the way. They dropped one to Georgia on the way, and they beat each other up. Look at last year. You ended up with Tennessee at 10-2. Great. You're in the playoff. The next SEC school is Alabama at 9-3. And yes, Alabama, you're at 11. You got jobbed because of the format. All right, no problem. I can accept that. Maybe you can't, but I can accept that. Then Ole Miss 9-3, South Carolina 9-3, Missouri 9-3. This played out last year.
We were very close to our disaster scenario of like a 6-way tie at the top of the SEC.
Sure. But I'm talking about I'm trying to spin us to the bubble in the college football playoff. And the narratives that are Alabama, you lost to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Terrible losses. Oh, you don't deserve to be in. South Carolina, who the heck did they lose? You lost on the road to Alabama, and you lost at home to LSU. And just basically, they had some losses as well. You have Missouri, who came to Alabama and got their doors blown off. But you got 9 wins as well. You're going to have people arguing, like the powers that be in the SEC are going to be arguing for these 4 teams. Ole Miss, oh, sorry, you lost on the road to Florida. You lost at home to Kentucky, but you did beat Georgia, so we should be in the playoff. We last week were spinning to, and I was fully on board with 5-11 is the future model. You get your 5 conference champions and the best 11 after that.
Mm-hmm.
That you just take, what's that, 6 to 16 after that, proverbially.
Yeah.
Is that really going to work for the SEC when you get your 2 teams in the championship? Great, you're in the playoff. That's 1 for your AQ. That's 1 of the 11, right? You've got 10 other spots. How many of those 10 other spots are they really going to say, yeah, we'll give it to 9-3 Alabama. We'll give it to 9-3 Ole Miss. We'll give it to 9-3 Missouri. And look, they probably all, like last year, the cutoff, Clemson was 16. So if you just took the top 16, you would have had Ole Miss, you would have had South Carolina, you would have had Alabama, you would have had Tennessee, you would have had Georgia, you would have had Texas. 6. Boom. Right. Awesome. But right on that cut line, BYU at 10-2, Big 12. Iowa State at 10-3. We've got 10 wins. Obviously now the bowl game kind of factors into some of that. You've got Syracuse in the ACC at 9-3. You've got 11-1 Army. Got to make it fair. Got to have representation. Army it was at 22. Okay, you have UNLV at 10-3 and Memphis at 10-2. How many of these? What's going on in that committee? What's going on in that committee room? Do you trust them? That's the thing. Do you trust the committee to say 9-3 Alabama? Take Alabama out of it. 9-3 South Carolina is better than 10-2 BYU.
I mean, I think historically they've done that.
Yeah, but I don't trust them. I don't trust it.
I would trust them to do that over actually. I think more often than not, they're going to give the SEC and the Big Ten the benefit of the doubt over any other conference. And I think they've shown us that.
So Arizona State, before winning the Big 12 championship, was 12. They were 10-2 and sitting at 15 outside looking in. They win the Big 12 championship.
The only reason they made it.
Right. And they jump up 4 spots. They're at 12. And they get one of the AQs. I'm concerned about these SEC teams playing their round robin, no divisions, and beating up on itself. And the committee just, the win-loss record. The win-loss record of BYU had 1 more win than South Carolina. Y'all went to Tuscaloosa and lost to that other 9-3 team, so maybe you're not that good. BYU, you're 10-2. You're close. You might be better. I mean, Ole Miss, who the heck loses to Kentucky at home? Who loses to Kentucky at home? That's a terrible loss.
I mean, that was what kept them out last year.
I'm just thinking that these arguments around 12 through 16 may not be as conducive for this 5-11 model for the SEC. Now, maybe it is. And maybe I'm just being paranoid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really see that being an issue. I think they've kind of shown us up to this point that they do a pretty decent job of at least recognizing, okay, just because you have Army 11 wins doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I think they've at minimum done a pretty good job of recognizing that. Now,
last
when
year
they
was
get
the first
to that,
year 12, right?
Yeah. Now, when they get
so
to that,
so I don't think we have enough history to say that.
Yeah.
But keep going.
I mean, there was a lot of arguments with that 4 line for the 10 years we had it, and they did a pretty decent job on most years of picking the actual best team there.
I do agree.
So I don't know. I'm just not that concerned about it. I do not think that we're going to sit at a situation where we have a 9-3 South Carolina versus 10-2 BYU, and they say, give it to the Cougars.
The Cougs.
Because in that scenario, South Carolina probably has a win over an Alabama, Georgia, someone like that.
Yeah, they beat Clemson last year.
And BYU has a win over no one.
Go schedule somebody, BYU.
Yeah, if you want to, you want to come play some big boy ball, we'll be happy to play the Cougars. We'll be happy to send South Carolina out to Provo.
So I'm just a little fearful because if you play with the committee, Then last year, you were guaranteed Georgia, Texas, Tennessee. That's who you got.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these other teams are on the bubble, and they're playing. Will you respect our schedule? Will you respect our strength of schedule? Which in my opinion, reframes the Greg Sankey packet from last week of our strength of schedule. Our 8 games is better than anybody else's 9 games.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you give us credit for that. Like, it reframes that to me. I'm thinking about the models 4-4, what is it? 4-4-3-3-1-1, right? That gives you 16. And while the biggest challenge of that is, well, you got Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, that 4th team for the SEC between Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. Like, either model that you have, you're going to have problems.
Certainly. My main concern, well, I guess it just comes down to where you fall in 2 camps, whether it's, if you think that the Big Ten and the SEC dominating is bad for the sport, then you're going to want the 4-4-2, whatever it is, because in the 5+11, the SEC and the Big Ten will dominate the sport. You will have 3, 4, 5 teams from each of those conferences probably every year. Now, is that good for the long-term health of the sport? I don't know. Is that probably who the best teams are in the sport? 1,000%, 1,000,000%, absolutely. Tattoo it on my forehead. Those are where the best teams in college football are. So it's just an argument of, do you want to be fair, and do you want to keep the status quo of how things have been and continue to keep college football the way it looks now, where we're all moderately happy, but there's some things that could change, and there's some weird issues with seeding, and nobody really knows who is actually that good because we don't really have a good way to determine it. There's too much going on. If we want to stay with all of that, sure, we keep the 4-4-2, that model where you get all the automatic qualifiers. Everybody gets their certain amount of allotted slots. But you are going to get teams that do not deserve to be in the playoff because they are not one of the best 16 teams in the country. You will get that with that model, in that undoubtedly, because the other conferences are not as good as the SEC and Big Ten.
I'm getting flashback by you remember our buddy Jacob Harrison used to work with us at 100.9, was always a proponent on playoff expansion. And I'm hearing him here a little bit, but I'm going to spin it. This is manipulation. This is college football manipulation. This is, how can we, because you just said it, what's best for the sport? What's good for the sport? If the powers that be just want the best teams and cared about the fans and cared about, everybody, you can play your schedule. We don't care what conference you're in. We're going to say, all right, then they're going to take 5-11. But Jacob used to always say, Joe, we need conference, because early on it was, no, there's no reason for expansion. And he says, the reason why we need expansion is to break up these monopolies. Because at that time, early college football playoff days, if you're a 5-star recruit, you were going to Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State, basically. Maybe Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson had a run there.
Right, for sure. But essentially, it was one of the monopolies. I'm hearing him right now, and I'm hearing Coach Saban talk about parity in the sport. If we can work and legislate, if you let that 3rd ACC team in, that 3rd Big 12 team in, they get to go to the recruits and say, we're in the playoff, and Billy 5-star then thinks, well, I can go to the playoff at Alabama, I can go to the playoff at Ohio State, or I can go to the playoff at Arizona State and get on the field at Arizona State ASAP. This is manipulation, is what this is, to try to break up the SEC and Big 12 dominance or Big 10 dominance. And I don't like that. I mean, maybe it is better for the sport to be nationwide, coast to coast, not a regional sport that revolves around the SEC and the 2 Big 10 teams that matter, maybe 3 Big 10 teams that matter. I don't like that. This is manipulation. We're going to make this 4-4-2-3-3-1-1 so that your BYU can hang the college football playoff participant, Indiana college football playoff participant, and Kirk Cigneti can go recruit his not 3 stars anymore, but 4 stars. That just hit me right then. Is that the powers that be are trying to manipulate the sport so that they can break up these monopolies further and continue parity, thus re-energizing fan bases across the nation.
And that's probably for the best. Probably would be. But
is it
to the competitor in me and the, I want to see the best of the best in me, like that's that is antithetical to that. College football, like, was it just destined to fail, like, from the start, with this many teams, this many programs participating and everything? Like,
132 teams is absurd.
It just was never like it was able to work when it was on a smaller scale. Still the amount of teams, but not these $1 billion TV contracts and $1 million deals for players, and when there was not this much money and things involved with it, like it all kind of worked because nobody got that upset about it because there wasn't that much money involved. But now, like, you cannot operate with this many teams. There is no possible way to really objectively rank 130 teams because they don't play enough games. It's not enough games. You can't have that many teams playing each other. Like, if college football was a 90-game season, you could maybe get a better idea of what those 130 teams look like because you have a lot of teams playing each other, but you can't do that. So I think it's just kind of an inherent flaw with college football. There's just too many. Like, there's not really going to be any way to rank them objectively ever.
So we'll see how this continues to go. ESPN Football Power Index. Now, obviously, this is not a straight up preseason poll, but it is basically what did we see last year? It was like a combination of like recruiting rankings and expectations and prior year.
It annoys me so much. This is not a poll; it's a power. Like, if it's not, you rank teams 1 to 25. Sure looks like a poll to me. I get that it's not the AP poll or the coaches poll. Like, this is a poll. You ranked these teams. Don't tell me you didn't you didn't rank the, like, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
That and I hate to say this, but this is the truth in my heart. The average fan reads this as a poll.
1,000%. There are Texas fans right now
We're
waving their banner. Number 1, baby. Hook 'em. And there are Michigan fans or talking bad about Ohio State not being able to hold a number 1 ranking or whatever it is. Like, yes, absolutely, there are people reading this and said, "Oh, there's the AP top 25 for this year." There's a college football playoff poll. People don't know. Back to our ranking discussion. Like, why don't we? Because I guess the issue with the polls, obviously, the polls mean nothing. We know this. Polls mean nothing. The only polls that matter are the college football playoff rankings at the end of the year. But we still continue to argue and talk back and forth about these AP coaches poll, whatever it is. Why don't we just move the playoff polls up so that we don't have to argue? If we can put the college football playoff poll in week 5, I think everybody sees that and they say, it's okay. The AP poll doesn't matter. College football playoff poll is coming up. But with how we are now, it's too far away where you have to have something to argue about.
Right. Well, you don't want to make those administrators and people work that early.
Oh no! The millionaire has to work an extra 10 days a year. Oh no!
Got. Where do they go? They flew to Dallas all the time, or flew to some central location to watch football and vote.
They probably got this gorgeous buffet spread.
We got screens everywhere. We're gonna watch football and vote.
They all just got hammered drunk at some ballroom in a hotel.
We're talking about your team today, right now, Billy. You got to leave the room.
Here's your voucher for 2 free drinks at the hotel bar.
Right. We'll text you when Steve's team's up. Steve will come tag you out when we get to his university.
It's such an absurd system.
It's ridiculous.
Just to think that it could all be, handful of guys that know nothing about football making an algorithm and then say, "Here you go, computer, take it away." That's what we need.
You need to widen widen the pollsters. You need to get get the writers. Okay, great. Pat myself on the back. Pat ourselves on the back. Get your talking heads. Everybody gets a little bit of a piece. You get some coaches. You get former coaches. You get no administrators involved. No, if you are in athletic administration, you can't be involved in this playoff committee. But we need to just widen it much further past, well, these 12 administrators and 8 of them are tied to different universities, and 4 of them are just former. These four.
Ridiculous. I think we just need more. We need more polls. We need we got to split every. We need a TV poll.
Do we just need to put our own poll this year?
Yeah,
the Joe Gaither the Joe Gaither show poll.
I'd love to see a TV
Alabama.
A TV versus a writers poll side by side.
No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
That would be so funny.
Hey, but you like list the schools that get vote. You had to give the votes.
That would be good.
Stephen A. Smith poll. Yeah,
that's what
not
ESPN poll, CBS poll.
Jonathan Jackson says you guys need to vote. We'd love a vote. I would
gladly take one.
We just need a little wider berth, a wider spread of people who are voting on this. But you can't have the 12 administrators and 6 of them have their hands in universities already. That's just not.
Speaking of vote, we got to get us a Heisman vote. That's what we got to set our sights on. How do we get a Heisman vote?
I think you can apply. I think you can apply for it.
We got to do that. We got to get on that, and then we got to make it our life's mission.
Which Alabama player is winning the Heisman this year?
I mean, I think your first option would have to be Ryan Williams.
Ty Simpson.
You're picking anybody.
Ty Simpson.
That's probably. I'm not going to say that's going to happen.
Ty for Heisman.
I'll say that.
Get the bill.
Hey, Mac was a finalist.
Get the billboard up right now.
They did make the correct decision.
No, they didn't.
Or no, that was
Najee Harris should have won the Heisman.
Yeah,
I'm just biased. That's my.
What's most important is Mac Jones should not have won the
right.
Heisman.
It should have been.
Did not.
Najee 1, Devontae Smith 2, Mac Jones 5. Sure. Who else were finalists? I don't even know. Alabama had 3 finalists though. Alabama had 3 finalists in that 2020 season, and I was just like, "Don't give it to Mac. Don't give it to Mac."
Man, we really don't talk enough about how insanely good that team was. It's so unfortunate that had to happen during a year like that, where it was everything was such a question mark.
How about Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Trask were the other 2?
Kyle Trask, Florida legend Kyle Trask.
All right, I take it back, Mac. You're not 5th. You're 4th.
Man, haven't heard that name in ages.
Is he still with the Bucks, hanging on?
I think he is still a backup with the Bucks.
Oh my gosh!
If he ever was able to live down that clip of that training camp clip from I want to say it was last year, maybe it was the Bucks had come out saying, we're having an open competition with Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, and I think within the same week, just really damning clip came out of Kyle Trask noodle arming a deep ball.
Baker Mayfield's team going forward,
1,000%. Man, Kyle Trask. Well, he had a hell of a year though. Him and Kyle Pitts. Kyle squared.
I'll always remember that, falling away past to Kyle Pitts in the SEC championship. There's no way that
they just wouldn't go away.
Yeah. So, all right. So ESPN Football Power Index, the propaganda machine is spinning for the SEC. 13 schools in the top 25. Think
too many.
Some of this is not right.
Realistically, what would be about your estimate, you think? Probably 7.
All right. In no order, but I'm comfortable with them being in this poll. Texas, Georgia, and Alabama, duh. You can throw them anywhere in the top 10 that you want.
Sure.
Some of them are in the top 5. That's great. I'm not comfortable with A&M in the top 10. I am comfortable with A&M in the poll. So that's 4. I'm not comfortable with Tennessee at 10. I'm not sure. Now maybe that's just my hate coming out, and probably is. So let's put Tennessee in the top 25, but 10 is way too high. All right, so those 4 I'm good with. I'm good with LSU being ranked, but I'm with you that they probably should be in the 20s. I'm good with Ole Miss being ranked as well. 13, I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Auburn, what the hell? I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
Get
out.
No.
And that is not just bias. They
were
not good. They have not shown anything to any reason to believe, this is a much improved team from last year.
And I don't believe
have no reason.
Jackson Arnold? Okay. Maybe. Good luck. But who's the freshman that they brought in they stole?
Knight.
Right. They stole him from Notre Dame, right? That's Hugh Freeze. You need to tell the Auburn faithful one more year.
Just one more.
One more year. We're playing Deuce Night
the whole right here.
We're playing Deuce Night the whole year. I don't care about this Jackson Arnold fella. We're playing Deuce Night, and we're living and dying with the results. Because next year, okay, I will go with you. Next year, Deuce Night, Cam Coleman, junior Cam Coleman, sophomore Deuce Night, you can be in this poll. But for now, what is this? This is absolute propaganda. South Carolina, I'm good with you being at 15. Oklahoma, what?
Out. Yeah,
I know people are pumped for John Mateer.
There's the door.
But you're 6-6 last year. No, get out of here. Florida, I'm good with you being in the poll. Florida needs to be higher than 18. I'll say that. I think Florida.
10.
Okay. Florida needs to be higher, and then I'm dumping Arkansas and Missouri.
Still got 10 that we feel good about. Not as much propaganda as I maybe thought.
Sure, but
still some.
But I'm also part of the propaganda machine.
Fair.
So
I mean, if we brought,
I have my friends. My friends are convinced. My friends are convinced every time I talk about, well, how much are you getting paid by the SEC, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, if we welcomed an Oregon beat writer on here, he may have a different top 25 than we just laid out.
I wouldn't put all those SEC teams 1 through 10, but somewhere in that. But
I think any of those teams that you listed, all of those teams that you just listed, you could have a strong argument that they're one of the top 25 teams in the country.
But what's the right word? You're doing yourself a disservice. No, you are discrediting. Yeah, you're discrediting yourself throwing Auburn in here. You're discrediting yourself throwing Arkansas in here. Taylor Green is probably hot stuff, but Sam Pittman is not going to win a big game. Look, call me when the man wins a big game.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Sam Pittman had Alabama, boom, in the crosshairs.
Right.
In the crosshairs in Tuscaloosa 2 years ago and couldn't get it done. Like,
choking just in his blood.
Right. You had, Landon Jackson just destroying Caden Proctor, and your man, Traylon Burks, just going crazy. Couldn't get it done.
When the Titans drafted Traylon Burks, I watched the highlights from that Alabama game so many times, just being like, oh, yeah, this is what he's going to be. Yes, dude, it's going to be awesome. Did not happen.
So get out of here, Arkansas. You're going to have to go win a game or 3.
Yeah, do something, Arkansas. It's like, man, they've been a shell of Arkansas. And not that Arkansas has ever been a world beater by any means, at least that I've ever seen. But I have memories of Darren McFadden and, things like that from when I was Arkansas was not just the disrespected, absolute bottom dweller that they are right now. They have had a fall, and it's unfortunate for them.
All right, so let's put that topic to bed. We want to remind you that we are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You can chime in on the Facebook machine like our friend Jonathan Jackson and Everett Osmer have today. You can find us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We want you to call Derek Daniel, though. Call Derek Daniel and his team for all your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. It is not fun to get into an accident. You definitely want somebody who knows your name, knows where you live, knows your kids' names, and kind of what you're into. Derek is that guy. Derek is the local agent, born and raised in the Tuscaloosa area. He knows this area like the back of his hand, and he does have connections for when your car kind of gets run up and or trouble finds you. Because in this life, you will have trouble, unfortunately. But Derek Daniel can help you. Local agents can help you. You need to call Derek, 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. He can run you a quick auto insurance quote and get you on and off the phone in just a few minutes, give you the information that you need so that you can make an informed decision about your insurance. 205-758-3391. All right, big bro. Let's move end of the year awards to tomorrow just because of time, and that gives us a little bit of prep work we can talk about, because that was my one complaint. I love being on with WNSP. I love it. It's fun. They call, yeah, I'm ready. And as I'm going on to the segment, I hear, and now the end is near. Da 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 da. The Frank Sinatra, I think, is what it is. And the guy goes, okay, we're going to do end of the year awards with Bama Central's Joe Gaither. And I'm like, we are?
All right.
And they throw these awards at me, and I'm just like, spitballing. So we'll come up with some categories so Mason Woods and myself can have a little more prep time. Why don't we go to Rob Vaughn? Rob Vaughn gets a new extension, gets a contract extension. In terms of his new extension, we're not initially disclosed, but it's highly likely that Tuesday's agreement will push Rob Vaughn over the $1 million threshold in terms of annual salary. This is from Will Miller. Will Miller writes this last night. Will Miller was hard at work yesterday. He wrote 3 different Alabama baseball players were named their specific state's Gatorade Player of the Year, headlined by ACA's Eric Hines, right over here. Eric, the MLB is not that cool. It is not that cool. Please, just Eric Hines, get to campus challenge is on. So he writes about 3 different Alabama baseball players that were named their respective states Gatorade Player of the Year. And then late last night, 9:30, Yay Alabama drops the tweet.
We got to figure something out over there. Because here's my thing. You either release this news in a premium news hour when the people are going to see it and people are going to enjoy it and be happy about it, or you just give us the information not behind a paywall. You can't drop the paywall information at 10 o'clock at night. It's because if the information is behind a paywall, no one else has it, so you can hold on to it.
That was. Are you still in our old tie chat on GroupMe?
I think so. I haven't checked it in years.
Right. So you get. Why are they releasing this last night? And I said they're worried they're going to get scooped. They got to break the news. They got to do the news breaking because, just naturally, I signed a contract extension. Oh, my husband signed a contract extension. Well, Rob signed a contract extension. All right, and it just the chain goes right.
We couldn't have gotten that news out at 7 a.m.
Are you a news organization? Is that what the movie? Or are you a premium content? Are you the home of Alabama athletics premium content? Sure. That's my big contingent. Fine, you break the news, whatever. I asked my girlfriend. I said, a lot of her family, big time Alabama fans, said, "Do you think that they're using Yay Alabama to find out, new contracts, or do you think that they're using Yay Alabama to spend some time with Kalen DeBoer at lunch?" I don't understand. They're just using it
because they want to support the Tide, Joe.
No, they're not. They're not using it at all. That's the point.
They're not trying to get anything out of it.
They're not using it at all. They're not signing up for it
which is why they are doing this.
But
it's not a good idea,
right? The Rob Vaughn contract extension is not something that makes me or anyone say, "Yeah, I got to pay $14.99 to find that out." Because what happens? Will Miller finds it out in 2 seconds, and it goes on Bama Central's site, and it's fine. We're not trying to snake you. We're not. But this is not the right. What can you do that Will Miller cannot do? You can go to Rob Vaughn's dinner party, and Rob, you can film Rob hanging out with Justin LeBron, just chatting about the year.
Something, yeah.
And you can cut it into clips as far as we don't want that conversation to come out, so we can control the narrative. We want the other parts of the conversation, and you bet your bottom, I'll watch, I'll watch Justin LeBron and Riley Quick and Coach Vaughn and everybody cutting up after the game. Man, that weekend was really hard. We were so close. Oh, here's what we're gonna do going forward. Oh, you remember when teammate X said this year, and that was a funny thing that happened.
It's just you see what the New Wave podcast is doing on YouTube. Do that.
Yes,
just do that. Do exactly what they are doing. Their videos are growing. It's steady. They're getting 30, 40,000 views. Some of them over 100. And you scroll back on their channel you can just see it steady. Tick, 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 tick. More and more and more and more. Because they're providing content that Alabama fans genuinely want to watch. People that are fans of Ryan Williams, Jalen Mbakwe, and Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. they're giving you the day in the life stuff. They're giving you, they just went to Ryan Williams and Isaiah Horton went to hang out with John Gruden.
Which Ryan, why did you see what he said? What did you say that for?
I did see that. Not a great choice of words.
You're giving Diego Pavia all the choose. We're gonna smash the ant with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, that was tough.
Look, maybe I hope so.
I would imagine so, probably.
But let's not give.
Don't give him anything.
Don't give hyper competitor Diego Pavia
not
an
a
inch.
Not great. Very funny video though, and good. More stuff like that. Like that could so easily have been a paywall. A Yay Alabama exclusive. Check out Ryan Williams and Isaiah Horton as they go down to wherever he is, to Florida or somewhere, I think, to hang out with John Gruden for the weekend. But no, you missed that opportunity. I don't understand it. It's very, very strange. Do you think they just how many people are on staff at Yale, Alabama?
I don't even want to guess.
I mean, yeah, because what is that? Maybe that's our issue. Maybe it's just not, they don't have the people to do it. Maybe. I don't know. Something has to change with their approach to getting money for their NIL collective, because this is not going to work for all the reasons you laid out.
Greg Byrne, I think you're great at your job. If you, I would leave. I love what I'm doing right here. I do. I love it. But I would leave this right now to revamp Yay Alabama in a heartbeat. And I think that maybe there's restrictions that I'm and hurdles that I'm not quite seeing. I will acknowledge that.
Red tape and things we don't quite know about.
But yeah, just leaves a lot to be desired. We'll say that.
I cannot understand it. We've talked about it so many times, I know, but
and we'll keep talking about it every time this comes up.
Yeah.
Put out something premium to where, oh shoot, you got to find out what Kane Womack said to Bray Hubbard and to get him, unlocked or whatnot.
You have an entire campus worth of students who I guarantee you many of which would love to be an intern for Yay Alabama, edit some of these videos, do some of the stuff that maybe other people don't quite like. I just don't get it. I don't understand. It would not be that difficult. If you don't want to hire a bunch of people, you have 40,000 students on campus. Just throw an internship out there. Hey, who wants to come work for Yay Alabama for a football season? You know how many people are going to be knocking at the door?
You can do it. Academic credit for the business side of school.
Come on.
Or you can do academic credit for the JCM side of school.
Anything. I mean...
All right, so Rob Vaughn gets a contract extension, and great for you. As Will said, the terms of the contract aren't quite really released. He was hired on a 5-year deal 2 years ago, so I would guess that we're just taking the contract back to 5 years, right? Yeah, so we burned 2 years. They were 2 good years. We like it. We're going to stack those 2 years on the right on the back end.
Sure.
I'm sure that would be my guess, stacking those 2 years. And as Will said, probably taking the contract from $900K annually to somewhere over $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million.
I mean, I think he's shown he's worth it.
So congratulations, Rob Vaughn. I think it's a good move. It makes me laugh at everyone on the social medias after this weekend. Is he going to be on the hot seat? He's 0-4 in NCAA regionals. Can't get out of a regional. I think patience is a virtue in almost all walks of life. So well done, Rob Vaughn. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy that new bump and keep the program going in a positive direction. No, did you see Kendall, the fake Kendall Rogers tweeting? Not Kendall Rogers, but the fake Kendall Rogers who put out the Justin LeBron to the transfer portal, and people fell for it,
as they do every time.
It's basically the profile looks just like NBA Central. It says Kendall Rogers, but the second L is a big capital I. It's not Kendall Rogers from D1 baseball. It's some joker who is trying to trick you. My opinion is that Justin LeBron will not be going to the transfer portal. But day and age in college baseball, I can't say that with 100% certainty. So don't come kill me if he does.
Maybe I'm gonna sound a little ignorant here. Is he not just going to the draft?
Yeah, he's not eligible.
Oh, okay.
Once you go, it's very much play on the NFL rules. You can go to the draft as a high schooler. It's a mix of NBA and NFL rules. Mm-hmm. You can go to the draft as a high schooler,
but once you declare,
it's 3 years. So he is another one more year in college. and everyone was worried, is he going to spend that third year in Tuscaloosa? I believe at a very, very high percentage that he is.
I like that rule. I did not know that that's how they did that.
That's why we're worried about Eric Hines.
Yeah.
Come to campus, 3 years, go to the pros.
Yeah, I think that's a really good rule. I don't know why most leagues don't just do that. I mean, I guess
because most leagues don't have 3 levels of minor leagues to throw
fair.
their high schoolers into.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL, you can't. I don't think you're gonna ever get a high schooler that can play in the NFL. But like the NBA, I still think there's a select few that you get every now and
Cooper
then.
Flag could play.
Yeah, you can take that journey straight from high school to the NBA, and I wish that opportunity was there for those players, because now G League Ignite or whatever it is, the little that they have for players who don't want to go to college. It's grown, but it's still, in my opinion, just a worse option than either going to college or just going to play like overseas or something for a year.
Well, congratulations to Rob Vaughn for getting your money. We talked about Football Power Index. Let's go one more topic for the day, and we will wrap it up on the Joe Gaither Show. We appreciate everybody for jumping in and joining us on their favorite platform. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. That's my favorite place that you listen to it, because I see little metrics from all over places, and I'm like, yeah, that makes me feel good. So thank you so much for that. Let's shift gears and spin to Know Your Enemy. We have done Texas, we've done Georgia, we've done Florida. Last week, we combined Eastern Illinois and ULM very poorly. I admit that. It was about 5 minutes of each of them. But come on, what are we going to talk about with those programs? So let's chat about South Carolina. South Carolina is going to be not a very easy game for Alabama.
Oof. I do not believe so, no.
Alabama football, let's see. That's going to fall. That game is going to fall in mid-October. Let's see, right? Yep, October 25th. 20 days after my birthday. Well, 19 days after my birthday. After the Tennessee game, golly, the week after the Tennessee game, serving as the culmination of a 4-week stretch, right? No, 5 weeks. Yeah, 5-week stretch. It's the last game of a 5-week stretch. That is Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina. I feel not good about the placement of this game.
No, I don't love it. I do not love it one bit. This is one of the games, I think, when we talked about trap games, this was one that we both kind of immediately jumped out at us, and I still have that same opinion. I am if it was anywhere else in the season, I'd feel a lot better about it. I'll just say that.
Yeah, you're geared up for Georgia. You got your sledgehammer out for Vanderbilt, and then of course I just lost my tab. What did I just say? Then you've got Missouri. Okay, that gives maybe a little bit of a break. Tennessee, you got to be geared up for Tennessee, of course. And then it's we beat them last year at home, and we weren't as good. We didn't play great offensively. We'll be fine.
That's the attitude that lost you to Vanderbilt last year.
Yeah, we'll be fine going to South Carolina and playing them at noon.
Will you though?
No. It's still going to be hot over there at noon at 2:30. Now, obviously, the kickoff time's not set, but I'm going to bet.
I would imagine you're probably correct though,
because South Carolina, are they going to do the South Carolina thing where they start so slowly and then start to get good? Their schedule. Football schedule. Their schedule: Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, LSU, Oklahoma. Yeah, I just lost it. LSU. Okay. Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, LSU, Oklahoma, and then Alabama. So is South Carolina going to start 1, 2, 3, 4-0, and everybody's going to be looking at that Alabama game and going, "Whoa, we're excited about it." And then they drop 2 games in a row at LSU. And then, if Oklahoma is all super improved, Oklahoma comes into Williams-Brice and wins. They drop 2 games in a row, and instead of that Alabama South Carolina game being 6 o'clock on ESPN as your prime Saturday slate, they say, well, South Carolina's lost their last 2 weeks in a row. 11 a.m., 3 in the afternoon, in the heat. That's my fear.
Yeah, I think this is the same scenario we brought up in the trap game discussion. It's just got. It feels like it's all lining up too well. Everything is, the stars are all aligning for Alabama to lose this game, probably. Not for really any reason. South Carolina's a good team, but I definitely don't think that they are talent-wise really better than Alabama at any position. But due to the circumstances surrounding this game, I think it's just going to be kind of a disaster scenario for Alabama.
I do find it pretty interesting. Shane Beamer's opening with Virginia Tech.
I think it's great.
His old daddy's school.
That could very quickly derail what's looking like a good season. I think. I mean, it's not like you're gonna go lose to Virginia Tech and then drop 2 or 3 more right after it. But if they lose that opening week, I think it takes a lot of the wind out of the sails for this South Carolina team. And they certainly could. I mean, Virginia Tech's not any slouch. I don't know anything about them this year. I don't really even know what they did last year, but I would imagine that will be at least a competitive game.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. I mean, you look at South Carolina's ACC openers the last couple of years. They lost to North Carolina last year, didn't they?
So yeah.
Yeah, just a brutal game. Okay, so I think that
starts with Lenore Sellers for South Carolina, though.
Does it start with Lenore Sellers or does it start with the defensive line?
With the defensive line. Dylan Stewart. What's the other guy? Kilgore. Oh no.
South Carolina. Our lads. It was.
I was reading it. I only wrote down Dylan Stewart, though. There's 2. They have 2 edge rushers.
Brian Thomas Jr., Gabriel Brunlow Dindy, Xavier Hardy, Damon Clowney.
That's a great name.
That is a great name.
Kyle Kennard. Did he get drafted?
He's already gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Kyle Kennard was a fourth, fifth round pick. Yeah. Why do they not have Dylan Stewart listed here? Oh, they have Dylan. Okay, our lads.
They have him listed as a linebacker or something.
Our lads, you got to update this. Dylan Stewart is not the second string defensive end. Let's find that.
He absolutely is not.
But they did get this transfer. That's what they have a transfer. Damon Clowney over him out of Ole Miss. Transferred in from Ole Miss last year with the Rebs. Ended up with 2 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss. It's a couple hurries. So, okay.
Cousin of Jadeveon Clowney.
Got to be. You had to make that assumption, right?
Well, I thought that was the case, and then I looked it up, and yeah, it was.
Xavier Hardy is a transfer out of East Mississippi Community College. Okay, so we're bringing a big boy up front to play defensive line, defensive tackle. Really, to me, it's Dylan Stewart and all his team members.
Dylan Stewart did not. I mean, I knew he was large, 6'6", 250. Did not realize he was that big.
Long arms.
6.5 sacks last season. Probably could have been more. Probably will be more this year if I had to guess. 3 forced fumbles. Very, very good player.
Let's just leave the machine gun celebrations at home.
Oh my God, that was him. What didn't he? He had a big game against Alabama, didn't he, last year?
He and Kennard were.
They combined for 3 or 4 sacks, didn't they?
And yes, they hurt Elijah Pritchett and Caden Proctor. That was not fun. And then they had Tonka Hemingway up front as well. He's gone, thankfully. They had a really nice defensive line. Brian Thomas Jr. is manning the other edge from Dylan Stewart. Brian Thomas last year.
He was catching passes from...
This is BRYAN, not BRIAN this time. But yes, you're exactly right. He had 4.5 sacks last year for South Carolina, and an ancillary role. You're going to expect him to up that number as a starter.
Yeah, I think they are going to absolutely be able to get after the quarterback very effectively. Now I think Alabama is
Ty Simpson screen pass
more equipped to deal with that this year with a little bit more experience along the offensive line. Maybe I understand they're replacing a little bit, but I feel good about what they have there. And Ty Simpson is not the same mobility as Jalen Milroe, but I think he still has enough to avoid some big hits if he needs to. But yeah, it's going to be probably where it starts with South Carolina is that defensive front, because they are going to probably win them a lot of games.
You know who's forced the most turnovers in the SEC over the last 4 years?
Is it someone from South Carolina, I'm guessing?
It is the South Carolina Gamecocks. Over the last 4 years, the South Carolina Gamecocks have forced 88 turnovers.
That is unsettling. I don't love that. To me, it just feels like this is going to be a prime example of just like, hey, Alabama, you are a better team. Just don't give it up. Like play clean football and you win the game. It's like there's not really much else to it. I don't think. I think where Alabama is going to have issues is if they turn the ball over, they throw some interceptions, something like that. They busted plays, things. I think if Alabama just comes in this game and is able to play clean, don't turn the ball over, and play solid, sound defense, you probably escape with a win.
Yeah, so you got to replace a lot in the interior defensive line. TJ Sanders, Tonka Hemingway, Boogie Huntley, DeAndre Jules, all kind of moving on. But you get the guy Xavier Howard. You get a transfer from Georgia Southern. You bring in some guys to really 1-for-1 replacements. Hopefully, I think it's really for Alabama that we attacking that defensive line. It's going to be about Ryan Grubb's creativity, because the secondary is going to be pretty nasty as well. They added Brandon Cisse from NC State. It's going to be.
Oh man, I forgot Justin Okoronkwo transferred there.
Yeah, break my heart, break my heart, because I thought that he was going to be, and I think he still is going to be a star. Break my heart. I think for that game, you're going to be really happy that you're not playing with Jalen Milroe. You're going to be really happy. I'm sorry, but you're going to be really happy that you're playing with Ty Simpson or Keelan Russell or even Austin Mack, somebody that can give you a lot of versatility. And obviously, you're Jalen versatile Joe. What are you talking about? Yes and no. Yes and no. And you know what I'm talking about, hopefully. If you don't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I think that Ty, you're going to have a lot more offensive versatility, not just at the quarterback position. You're going to be able to call different screen passes. You're going to be able to call, you're still going to be able to call read option here a little bit, but you're going to get the downhill running game going. I think you're going to get more wide receivers involved than just Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. It's going to be I think that's going to be probably a big test for Ryan Grubb.
I think so too. Like you said, I feel better about accomplishing that with Ty Simpson under center than I did with Jalen Milroe, and they were able to do it with Jalen Milroe. So I'm still, I still feel good about Alabama. I think they can win this game. Like I said, if they just play clean, they probably come out with a win, because at the end of the day, I still think Alabama's a more talented team. You have better players at almost every position, but you mentioned the turnovers they force, and once that snowball starts rolling, it's going to be hard to stop it, because you turn the ball over if you're Alabama or whoever you are playing South Carolina, they get the ball back. They have very, very high explosive playability, like a lot of explosive plays in that offense. With Lenore Sellers being able to run the ball, he has a pretty big arm. They got good receivers. They're bringing back, I think, 3 of their 4 leaders from last year. So you just got to play clean ball. You just got to play clean football. You can't. I think it very quickly. This team is, if you make mistakes, it can very quickly get away from you playing South Carolina. It's what it seems like. But if you just play okay, if you just play clean, there's not a whole lot they can do to you. I don't think they can. I think they have to capitalize on your mistakes. They're not necessarily a team that's just going to outright beat you on most of the time.
Oh boy, South Carolina's got a little trouble in the backfield though. Did you find this a little bit?
Rashul Faison.
Yeah, he's not eligible right now.
Did not know that. Okay,
so this is what I'm figuring out. This is what I'm finding.
I missed that. Yeah, because I was just looking through. I was like, man, this guy looks pretty good. They bring in this transfer. Okay,
you got Oscar Attaway the third. That's kind of your direct backup, and he is eligible. But South Carolina brings in Rasul Faison out of Utah State, and currently homeboy is waiting on a waiver. Waiting on a waiver from the NCAA, and by all accounts, Shane Beamer 2 days ago. Let's see. Let me type his name back in so I can Control F. Rasul. Oh gosh, all the way back up here.
I mean, I think if you don't get him back, you certainly are very concerned about what you have at running back, because You lost Rocket Sanders, your leading back from last year, and then Lenore Sellers was your second leading rusher.
Yes. He was on, Shane Beamer was on the radio a couple days ago. Any update on Rasul Faison's eligibility? Rasul Faison is in the Diego Pavia camp, where Rasul Faison, what's my track? Faison started his career in 2019 at Marshall. In 2020, he enrolled in online classes at Lackawanna College, where he did not play football. In 21, he attended Snow College, a junior college in Utah, where he didn't appear in any games. In 22, a second season at Snow College, where he rushed for 355 on 88 carries, And in 23, he transferred to Utah State, where he played the last 2 seasons. His last 2 years at Utah State, my man takes 316 carries for 1,800 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. Not really much of a big-time player in the passing game. 33 catches over 2 years for 151 yards. Check down machine.
So he's had 3 seasons where he has actually participated.
But he's been in college since 2019.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think you can get a retroactive red shirt for a year where you didn't see the field. I don't really have an issue with that.
But you've been in college since 2019.
Obviously, somebody wanted his services.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
It's insane. You've been in college. How many? I hope you got 3 degrees by now. 2 at least.
I bet he does.
Of course. Student athletes over here.
Student first, baby.
So he
did come here to play school.
They're still waiting. He says, no, we don't have any an update. Every time I hear through the grapevine that we should know something the next day or two, it never happens. And what's today? Friday. I think Tuesday, I heard we should know something in the next couple of days. And here we are on Friday. This is last Friday. And we've heard nothing. So nothing right now. Our players are back in town working out. I was watching them today work out, lift, and run, And today they broke it down on Free Sewell. He goes, we always break it down on 1-2-3 team or 1-2-3 Gamecocks. Today they broke it down on Free Sewell. So they're behind him. He's here working hard, and we're hoping that we can get some closure to this soon.
He'll get his waiver. After hearing that, he'll definitely get his waiver because that'll be the exact reasoning. It'll be, well, I didn't even play those 2. I never saw the field. I've only actually played 3 years. And they'll say, well, yeah, okay. He'll get his waiver.
If he doesn't get his waiver,
he has a better claim than Diego Pavia did.
They got to turn to, goodness gracious, another old man who has been in college since 2016. Oscar Attaway enrolled in North Texas in 19. You're at North Texas in 2019, 2020, 2022, 23, and now you're at South Carolina last year in 24. Last year at South Carolina, you took 77 carries for 295 yards for 3 touchdowns. What's up with you, Shane Beamer, and all these old men trying to circumvent the rules?
It's an interesting strategy for running back, especially considering the amount of wear and tear that position takes on a year-to-year basis.
He's looking for guys that you weren't good enough to go to the NFL, but you
basically, yeah. Maybe now you pose it like that, maybe it's not a bad idea. You get the guys that were right on the cusp there.
We're just gonna burn all your tread off here at South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. So certainly a lot of concern in the running back department, I think, if he does not get his waiver, although given what the NCAA has done over the last however many years, he'll probably get it. I would not going to say bet money on it, but I would bet money on it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. On the same case, not really going to go there that much, but U.S. Department of Justice filed a statement in the Zakai Ziegler lawsuit, right? The Tennessee one. Basically saying, called on the courts to use a flexible antitrust analysis, because basically Ziegler is saying, you're breaking my antitrust because I can still make money at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They're calling him to use a flexible antitrust analysis that considers the student in student athlete.
It's going to heat up. That case is going to heat up.
Brother, you've been in college for how many years? Go get a job. Derek Daniel, State Farm. We're hiring.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that was wild. South Carolina wide receivers, though.
Nick Harbor.
Is he going to be that good?
I don't know. He is the hype machine of all hype machine because
99 speed, right? NCAA, 6'5". He runs track too, I think.
The EA Sports messed him up.
EA Sports screwed him
because everybody's expecting him to just be I throw it to him on my game straight down the field. He just runs right past people on my game. Why doesn't he do that? 26 receptions last year, 376 yards for 3 touchdowns. Does not match 99 speed in our NCAA football game. give him on a jet sweep, and there he goes. Why don't they do that?
Yeah, I'm not sold on. Now I think obviously the potential is through the roof if we are to buy what his speed rating is. I've not actually looked into it that much. I haven't watched him run track or anything. He looks fast. I mean, a little bit I've seen him. Highlights I watched. He does look very fast. But I'm not sure if I'm necessarily there to call him like a 4.3 guy or anything, which is what I would say would probably garner a 99 rating.
Yeah, University of South Carolina lists him his 100-meter dash time 10.11, ranks third all time in South Carolina program history. Okay, his 200-meter dash is 20.20, which is blazing.
He's flying. Okay, so he's fast as hell.
But can you cut? Can you get into a stance? Can you block?
57% catch rate off last year.
That's terrible.
45 targets, 26 catches. That's not great.
That's not good at all.
That is not great. Like I said earlier, though, they did bring back 3 of their 4 leaders from last year. The guy they lost.
Hit me.
One of the NFC. You got Mazeo Bennett. Again, none of these guys were overly productive. 30 catches for 337 yards last year. Jared Brown, 15 catches for 244. And then guy we mentioned, running back Oscar Attaway, was your next leading receiver that's coming back, 15 for 145. You lost your tight end, who was your big-time receiver off of last year's team, to the NFL. You did bring in a transfer, Jordan Dingle, but 9 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown last season. Didn't really do a whole lot.
Jordan Dingle, early submission for all-name team.
It's a good one.
Dingle for 6.
Coming in from Kentucky, so maybe it was just Kentucky was so bad he didn't really get used a whole lot.
Very possible. They only burned like 4 quarterbacks.
Very possible.
Brock Vandergriff quit football in the middle of the year.
Another name of the year, Vandrevius Jacobs. I've never heard of Vandrevius. That's a sweet name.
Shane Beamer is just going on and going into the 24/7 pages and searching names. That guy looks like a cool name.
That'd be a good way to do it,
Nick Harbor, he spells his name NYCK. Nick, like insane. We like that.
Is it because his full name is NYCKOLES? So is it
okay?
Nichols or
Nicholas,
or is it Nicholas just spelled strangely? I did way off topic with Vanderbilt. Covering recruiting. Vanderbilt has a commitment this year, and his name is Courageous, Karajis.
No.
Or Karaijus. It took me a minute because I thought it was courageous or
no.
Like you see JIUS. It's not like an abnormal. You say something, whatever. And I typed it wrong. Like 5 was writing a thing. And I went back and I was like, wait a second, I had that name completely wrong. And then I realized, like, oh my god, that's what it's supposed to be. His name is Courageous.
No.
Yeah.
Mother, please.
Back to South Carolina though.
Mother, please.
Yeah, folks. A lot of crazy names out there these days. People are forgetting that they're naming adults, I think.
All right.
South Carolina, good offensive line, I think. You bring back a good bit of snaps.
But they were kind of suspect last year with injury, weren't they?
I think so.
Not the transfers, but largely South Carolina, I think they suffered a good bit of injuries last year.
You brought in, I'm looking at 4 transfers I'm looking at. So, a lot of guys who haven't been with the program, but a lot of guys who have a lot of experience.
We'll see what it's like. You want to burn through the schedule real quick and we'll go home?
Yeah.
We'll just go right from the start. South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta.
I'm going to give them the win.
Yeah, I will too. And then we're home. We're blowing the doors off South Carolina State. And then we are welcoming Diego Pavia in for family weekend. This is South Carolina family weekend. The game is already tapped at 7 or 7:45. I guess they already have some of these times here. Great.
This is where we find out if Vanderbilt is going to be like any improved from last year. If they build on what they did last year at all. If they lose this game, then it's just, okay, well, no, they didn't. But if they win this one, it's like, oh, okay. So I don't know.
But are you cool with if Vandy goes 6-6 again, saying, okay, they're still like, moving in the right direction? They didn't regress back to 2-4, back to 2-10.
Probably, yes.
3-9 or whatever it was.
And, if it was my team, I don't know if I'd say that, but like as an outsider, I think yes, probably that's still a step in the right direction.
It's good doors. Got to build on it. Get back to back-to-back bowl games. That's your goal, Clark Lee.
Yeah, but I do think this is a big, an early season litmus test, not necessarily for South Carolina, but for that Vanderbilt team.
Okay, and then we get on the road at Missouri.
Win.
Shane Beamer and Eli Drinkwitz hate each other.
Might come to fisticuffs at midfield.
Yes. Give it
Eli
to me.
Drinkwitz is going to sick that robot dog on him.
No, I haven't seen this.
He did some pregame interview with SEC Network last year. They walk on the they're walking on the field and they're all talking to him, and he had one of those little like robot dogs walking beside him. It was very funny, but that's what he's going to do. They probably got one that they've attached a gun to or something. He's going to stick it on him.
He would. Then South Carolina welcomes Kentucky. They're going to beat them. Sorry, Kentucky. I don't even want to.
Is this the year they finally fire Stoops?
Depends on the buyout. I think the buyout does drop enough.
Crazy. Okay.
Yikes.
It's got to be coming.
Then we're at LSU. Brian Kelly.
I'm going to give that to LSU.
Yeah, I am too. LSU went to South Carolina and won. I think they're going to get them back-to-back years. Then Oklahoma comes to town.
Just because I know people are high on Oklahoma, I'm not yet.
Sure.
I'll give it to South Carolina. I'll need to see it from Oklahoma before I believe in the Sooners. Plus, it's a home game.
Yeah, you think Shane Beamer's got a little something for Brent Venables dating back to the South Carolina Clemson little
possibly
little rub. Okay, I think I'm going to go with you. I think I'm going to go with you that South Carolina gets Oklahoma. And then it's Alabama. Alabama for homecoming. You got
that's crazy.
That's bold. That's real bold.
I mean,
you only have Coastal Carolina a couple weeks later at home. You only have Clemson at home as well. You only just had Kentucky at home 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy.
This Kentucky game doesn't have a little moniker as far as like what it is, like blue and white or veterans game or like. Nope. You just decided we're doing homecoming.
All right,
Okay, roll tide.
More power to you. You think? I mean, do you think anybody on the team even cares?
No, I think it's a fan thing.
I think it is too.
I think it's just.
And I think a lot of those fans don't even care that much.
I think Kalen DeBoer drops that 2 minutes before during the kickoffs or during the pregame speech, during the rah-rah. And by the way, they think you guys are chumps and scheduled y'all for homecoming. And that'll be the first that they hear about it.
I had to hear that like basically every week when I played high school football because that was what every team did to us, was schedule us for their homecoming.
No!
I remember it was like third week of the year. I was like, we're already playing somebody's homecoming? What's happening?
No. Yeah, but Kalen drops that like in the locker room. He's like, these guys disrespected y'all.
Just a little nugget.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Now that we're here, I want to give Alabama the win, but
I do too. And I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to. I'm probably going to make myself look stupid, but I'm going to, dang it.
All right. I'll go opposite. I'll stick to the guns that we've had. The South Carolina. Man, if South Carolina's doing that, they're having an amazing year. I have them at what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-1 at this point. Gross. Absolutely gross. Then going to Ole Miss. Loss.
Sure.
Lane's going to bring you back down to earth.
Yeah, with his swath of transfer portal quarterbacks.
Then we are going out to Texas A&M. Loss. 12th man in November.
12th man gonna get to you.
Yep. So now I'm at 6-3. You're back home with Coastal Carolina win. That's the salute to the troops game. Awesome, great job. And then you're finishing with Clemson at home. I'll give you a win. That takes me to 8-4. I think if my math is right. 8-4. Are you in the playoffs? No. You're not in the playoffs, but you did.
8-4.
But you did win. But you did beat your Vegas win total odds. I think it's 7.5. The ESPN Football Power Index, the poll we just referenced, had them at 7 wins. Yeah, 8-4. I'm feeling.
South Carolina fans upset.
I don't know a South Carolina fan to say that.
I don't know one either.
So maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You've got to know that you're South Carolina.
I would think.
Right? And
you would think.
I
don't know.
Did
a lot of hype this year.
Did Steve Spurrier get them to an SEC championship game? I'm pretty sure that
they played Auburn.
Okay, you're right. That's their only SEC championship game appearance. So you've got to know South Carolina. Oh, our ceiling is we might get to Atlanta. Not really.
Hey, had some good years there. Hey, Alshon Jeffrey, Steven Garcia. Or was it Steven Garcia?
Yeah, you're right. So I have them at 8-4. Did you have them 7-5, or because you went that Alabama game? It's fine.
Yeah, I give them 7-5. I don't like that now that I hear it, but I'm gonna log it in.
You're right on par with the FPI, so it's not that crazy.
Yeah, I don't like hearing 7-5 back, but I'm gonna log it in.
All right, there we go. That's Know Your Enemy, the South Carolina Gamecocks. So we've had a lot of fun today. Tomorrow, I need to get back up with Katie Wyndham. We gave her a little vacation yesterday. She might still be on vacation as she is preparing for a wedding, and we hope that that's going really well. Her and Tony getting ready for that in July.
I'm very thankful I didn't have to do a ton of that. It was a lot of just Melissa asking me, "Do you like this?"
Yeah, it looks good.
Cool.
Yep. What color? Great.
Sounds good, man.
Not neon green? Perfect.
Yeah, she handled most of that. It was great.
Not blaze Texas orange? Cool.
Yeah.
Right, great. Awesome. Well, we're going to try to get back up with Katie Wyndham tomorrow, and we will do season end superlatives. Except, I'll leave you with this. The season's not over for Alabama. The track and field team has 20 athletes competing next week in the NCAA championship meet.
Pretty good.
Doris Lemingole is going to try to defend her 3,000-meter steeplechase title.
Steeplechase, that's the one, right?
The water jump. That's you got what, 4 hurdles on the 400 meters, but one of them is the water jump.
I've never, and I'm sure that there is some history to that makes sense if I were to look into it, but it just seeing that happen never makes any sense. It is just like, hey, do you want to tear the ligaments in your leg? Jump over into this pool of water.
Fair.
It just seems like such a disastrous idea.
They are competing next week in Oregon, Haywood Stadium, the house that Steve Prefontaine built. Oh my gosh. That is my own personal bias. That's not because my father's a track and field coach, but you say the name Steve Prefontaine and I get chills. You talk about Haywood Stadium and I get chills. Chris Walsh, next year, we didn't talk about this. It's fine. We're way behind for this year. But next year, I would like for you to consider sending me to Haywood Stadium to cover the NCAA championships.
Looks like a Premier League stadium or something. It
is pageantry. It is
it's a beautiful stadium. I remember,
think about whatever your favorite football stadium, whatever your three favorite football stadiums are in North America, and combine them into one, and that is the pageantry, in my opinion, at Haywood Stadium. That is, oh gosh, you get the Bowerman Mile, you have people remembering Prefontaine burning himself out, the car crash, and then just obviously everything going on with Nike. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that. So no, the athletic year is not exactly over. Next week, 20 athletes across 14 different events for the men's and women's NCAA track and field championships will be competing in Oregon, and we will keep you mildly up to date on that next week. So we had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys on the show today. We will chat with you tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show. We'll see you around the bend right here on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.